Why do people refer to the Spotify model? What's so significant about Spotify's achievements? Well, let's take the second half of that question first. What is so significant? Spotify have grown an amazing business over the last couple of decades. Starting from almost nowhere, they've grown to be synonymous with music streaming around the world, the availability on demand of whatever it is you want to listen to when you want to listen to it. They've built a brilliant business, and at the core of that business is some phenomenal technology. So they are a tech firm that happens to stream music and other audio things. And they've done it through some really interesting innovations in how they approach the business and how they approach technology. And I've never worked in Spotify, but from the outside looking in and talking to people who have worked in Spotify, what I understand is these are very closely coupled ideas. The technology and the business are not the same, but similar. So they put out, over a decade ago now, I think, some engineering films put up on YouTube, amongst other places, shared widely. This is how Spotify builds stuff. Okay, the Spotify model. And there's some good ideas in there. They rename teams to squads. There's lots of renaming because they wanted to. It was how they worked. They wanted to make it their own within their culture. And this language worked well for them, and why not? Why can't you call a team a squad? I mean, if you're just copying them, really, why do you want to call them a squad? Maybe that's a question for later. But they released this video that said, we work in squads, we have chapters, we have guilds, and I never remember which way those two go around. But this is how Spotify builds it, as though Spotify was a single monolithic standardized organization. And to be fair to the video, I don't think they ever say that is the case. They just say this is how we, and likely referring to themselves and the immediate teams around them, work, and everybody understood we to be the whole of Spotify. So you're looking at it and you're seeing this amazing tech company doing great things, really scaling up. And this is a time when they were making great inroads to be the people they are today, the organization they've achieved. And why wouldn't you want to copy that? Why wouldn't you look at somebody who's doing this and think, that's amazing, and they're sharing the secret sauce? So why wouldn't we copy it? Let's do the Spotify model. Let's rename all of our teams to squads. I don't know why. So people start copying it. Okay. And because it's the latest and greatest trend, because it's what the cool kids are doing, the consultancies get on board. These are bright people who understand a marketing opportunity when they see one. This is a way of selling a new service line, Agile, into existing clients. Look at this thing, it's all over the internet, it's really good, and it is really well structured, and it is really well packaged. Okay, you should be doing the Spotify model. Alright, so now we've got an army of salespeople and consultants selling it into their clients, the big and the small, and implementing it in their clients. Okay, but these are often years, if not a decade or more later than when the video came out, and nobody's really thinking, that's what Spotify did then, what do they do today? And Spotify, being who they are and how they work, they carried on improving, they carried on changing things, looking for better ways, team by team, area by area, how do we work? And they've evolved. And I suspect today you will find places that look a bit like the Spotify model and places that are radically different, because they're constantly evolving their way of working to match who they are today, what the problems they have today. Okay. Yet, the big organisations that have adopted the Spotify model have gone from one static base to another static base. They've not learned the secret sauce, the dynamic, constant improvement that a company like Spotify goes under all of the time. This is the same story that we saw in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s in the automotive world, where people wanted to copy Toyota, this amazing Japanese car firm that could outbuild everybody. and they started copying what they did. And I still chuckle when I think of your average Western, factory worker doing calisthenics in the morning because that's what the Japanese factory workers did. I just love the image. Of course it's not going to do anything. Copying how they work today isn't going to change anything. You might get some better, but what you need to do is understand, how did they get there, right? And Toyota have the same thing that I have no doubt Spotify have. Rigorous, continuous improvement throughout. Constantly trying new things, checking if it works, if it doesn't work. Is it better than what we had before? And if so, we should adopt it, and maybe we should share it wider. And it might work for that part of the business, and it might not. And if it does, they're probably going to adopt it. And if it doesn't, who cares? They gave something a go, it didn't work out. We've learnt more about ourselves, about our system. Constantly going over and trying to be better. Okay? That's what the consultants, that's what the salespeople need to be going into businesses and selling, is don't copy somebody else. Be a better version of you. Work towards what's important, step by step. We can take leaps. We can see practices that work really well within the world. Try them out. Some of them will work for you. Some of them won't. Some of them may just be a bit meh. They don't work, but they don't harm you. Maybe it's better in the long run. We don't know. Let's try stuff out. Let's constantly adapt and improve. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.